All right, everybody, welcome to our Saturday morning training call. I know we always kind of mix up the what we talk about on these. Sometimes it's getting started right. We have had a number of requests this week for basically sharing on how to talk to people, how to introduce people to the opportunity, how to introduce people to the product that we have, basically just piquing people's interest, sharing, going out and talking to people, whether it's warm market, whether it's cold market. What I love about this, there's no real script. It's just basically you being you, and that's the one thing I always like to reiterate when I talk to people. It's you be real, you be normal. You take what's shared today, okay? Take what's shared today and put it in your own words. And so definitely take some notes. We have a couple people here that are going to share that have had an incredible success in this industry and really have just some amazing nuggets. That I want to bring on a really good friend of mine. He's actually grown to be a really good friend, really great business partner. Look up to him quite a bit. He's been one of the top recruiters, top promoters in our whole group. He's been an absolute joy to work with just because of that. He's got unreal and huge amount of integrity, and I love how he approaches it. For him, it's not about creating hype or creating something that's not real. It's about, hey, we have something that's legitimate here. I want you to take a really great look at it. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Rick Moffitt. Are you there, Rick?
I'm here. Can you hear me and see me?
I can. I can hear you and see you. You look beautiful this morning.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Rick has a great background, and I'll let you kind of tell a story a little bit. What I love about him, he's passionate. His integrity is top notch. He doesn't need this. He just really wants to go help people. And I think when you guys come across that way, some magical things can happen. So that's why I really wanted to bring him on today and have him talk about how he shares Prime. Go ahead. You're on. Go ahead. Take it away.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. And first of all, Nick he has been very, very supportive of, I know all of you guys can probably say the same thing, but he has really helped me in the beginning. I think I call him about 10, 15 times a day. And most of the time he took my calls and solved my problems. So thank you, Nick. Just it's been a joy to work with you as well. So Nick asked me last night to talk to y'all about how to talk to people. And let me just say this right off. Nick's already kind of alluded to it. I'm going to put these on so I can see my notes so I can stay on topic here. There's not any perfect way. Okay. Years ago, I spent that's a better picture than having to look at you, Nick. I appreciate that. I spent a lot.
Isn't that the truth?
I spent a lot of hours trying to write the perfect script, and it took me a while, but I finally came to the conclusion that there is no perfect script. There is no perfect way to talk to people. I went to a lot of different classes, read books, saw videos, audios on how to be successful, how to talk to people. And, I gained a few things from some of these things that I plugged into, but most of the methods were just not for me because, and Nick's already said this, because they were not me. They just did not fit who I am. I would get this perfect script figured out, and I would carefully choose each word. Then I'd go out and say, okay, I'm going to try this out. But it was always forced. It never fit into the conversation. So eventually I figured out that just does not work. So just today I want to give you just a few general guidelines, maybe a general blueprint that will still give you the freedom to be who you are, because I don't think anybody wants to get into a business where you have to be somebody that you're really not. That's just not something you want to do. And if you get locked into having to try to do something a set way, you're going to be real reluctant to do it because it's just not who you are. So first off, here's what I believe is one of the most important things, and that is to get your thinking straight. We're not trying to sell somebody a product or a business opportunity, and of course we all want people to use our products and join our business. Of course we do, but don't let that be the foremost thing in your mind. The truth is, and again, Nick's already said this, we have some very valuable information, and we want people that we know and care about to hear it. I mean, if you know something that's really valuable, who's the first person you're going to tell? The people that you care about. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do I believe that this hemp oil, this Prime My Body hemp oil, is valuable? And can it make a difference in someone's life? I believe that's absolutely the first step. I don't know who I was on the call or whatever this is, the Zoom or whatever we call this, but likely most of you have had a very positive experience. I know I have, and that's what got my attention. A friend of mine, and some of you probably know, Marshall Howard, he called me back in May and told me about this, and I thought, I don't want to do another one of these deals, these things. I've done enough of them. I'm at the point in my life I just didn't want to do it. So I thought, how's the nicest, easiest way to get rid of Marshall? And that was nothing against Marshall. I said, okay, I'll try it. I'll try the product. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to use it for a month or two, and then I know it's not going to help me, and then I can at least say I tried and not hurt anybody's feelings. But lo and behold, 3 weeks after I started taking the product, it actually changed my life. I went around telling people, I still do, I think I found the fountain of youth. Many of my aches and pains, my energy level went up, my endurance went up. I just generally felt great. So when you've got to come to that in your own thinking, is this stuff is really valuable, and I want people that I know and care about to hear about it. So what do I say then when I call somebody? I guess we all probably start with our warm market. Warm market, obviously, being people, friends, and family. So what do I say? So I want to call somebody up and tell them about it. Again, I don't use a script. I don't teach a script because there is no perfect script to fit everyone's scenario. But when you're just starting out, it may be good if you have a few bullet points that you want to jot down, just to make sure you cover them. But I would encourage you, don't write out everything you're going to say, because it's not going to come across like you want it to come across. So when I call somebody, I don't beat around the bush and act like I'm just wanting to know how they're doing. I get to the point very quickly, and I want them to know that I've called them for a very specific purpose and that it's important. And generally, I will ask them a question, something like this: have you ever heard of CBD? Have you ever heard of hemp oil? And most people that I've talked to have not heard of it. Now, I know it's, as you guys do too, that it's getting very, very popular. There's no shortage of websites talking about it. But that's how I start the conversation. And when they say no, or even if they say yes, I tell them my personal experience. And some of you may not have a personal experience yet, but I bet you know somebody who has a personal experience. So I share it. Again, we don't treat disease. We're not trying to cure anything. I just tell them of some of the positive benefits that I have experienced, and I do that in about 60 seconds. If you go on and on and on, we used to call this gushing on people. People they're gonna turn you off real quick, and they're not gonna listen, because you're gonna come across like you're trying to sell somebody something. Again, try to get that out of your mind. You're not trying to necessarily sell somebody something. You just want them to know about something that you believe could make a difference in their life. I rarely get into the science. Most people don't care about the science. All they want to know is this going to help me? Usually the two questions I get the most is this, what's this going to do for me, and how much does it cost? If you get into the science, there are some people who are interested in that, but that's not something that I usually do on the initial phone call. And then if they are interested at all, I do one of several things. I ask them for permission to send them a couple of links to some videos, perhaps a website, and sometimes I will invite them to get on a launch call. I won't explain that. I'm sure most of you already know about that. I'll try to get them on a three-way call if they begin to ask me a lot of questions. Even though I might know the answers, I try to get them on a three-way call, and that's what I recommend that you do as well. Probably number one reason is you don't have to know everything about it when you start doing this, and likely you won't know everything about it. And another good reason is it shows the people that you're talking to, your potential partners, that, hey, I got somebody to help me. This is a team effort, and I think that's very important right at the beginning to establish that. And then something that I think is very critical, once you set up, you send them some things to look at, make an appointment at that time to get back to them. If you've ever contacted somebody, sent them years ago, we sent out tapes that date myself here, but then it was CDs or DVDs. And then there was always that, okay, did they get it? And have they listened to it? Now I got to call them back. And I don't know when a good time to call them back is. I don't want to bother them. What if they haven't listened to it? All these things run through your head. So what I find is that the easiest thing to do is on the initial phone call, you simply get permission to send them some links, text them, email them, however you want to correspond with them, and then make an appointment at that time to call them back. Hey, I'll send you some links as soon as we hang up here. I think you can listen to them today. Yeah. Can I call you back a little later on this afternoon? Well, yes, no. Can I call you tomorrow? When's a good time? And I set an appointment. I try to set it at an exact time and make sure they understand that you have an appointment to talk to that person at whatever time that you establish, and make sure that they know that you're going to call them. So that seems to be the most simple way to do this. Some of you on this call or on this whatever this is, know that the key to being successful in a business that uses direct sales, network marketing, is to have something that's very simple and something that's repeatable, something that anybody can do. So that's just some general guidelines. What about your cold market? Eventually you're going to run out of people that you know, run out of family and friends. So what about your cold market? Say people that you just meet. You go to your kids or your grandkids' soccer game or baseball game, and you meet people and you want to share what you know about it. How do you get involved? How do you get those folks? How do you talk to those folks? And I think without getting into a whole lot of detail, very simply, I would say this: ask questions and listen. Ask questions and listen. Not in an interrogating way, but just as you're talking to people, begin to ask them questions about who they are, what they know, get to know them, and listen to what they have to say. Because I believe this: people, if you listen to people, and that's a skill that most of us don't have. We have to develop that. If you really listen to people, it won't be long, and they will tell you what they want or tell you what they need. And most of the time, there's either a financial issue, a health issue, or a relationship issue. And what we have at Prime My Body can certainly help with, for sure, two of those, the health and the finances. So, let me give you an example. Let's say you're talking to somebody and you just met them, you don't know them too well, and you want to tell them about this Prime My Body hemp oil. And so I say something and you jump out there and you say, yeah, let me tell you about this hemp oil and CBD, and start going through all the health benefits, da-da-da-da-da. And perhaps the person you're talking to has no health concerns, but they have a big financial concern. They're not going to be interested in all the health benefits of this, or at least initially, but they would be interested in the financial aspect of it. And the reverse is also true. You start telling somebody about how much money you can make and talking about time freedom and all the things that network marketing can provide for people. If you start sharing all that thing and then you find out they're battling cancer, they're probably not going to be interested in the finances or any of that part of it if they're battling cancer. So how do you avoid that? You ask questions and listen. People will tell you what they want and what they need if you listen to them. And there's an old saying: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I think listening is perhaps one of the top ways you can convey to somebody that you care. I went to many years ago, I did a training, and there were several hundred people in the audience, and I asked this question. I said, okay, guys, just the men, I want you to answer this question. I said, your wife comes to you with a problem. What do you do? And they all said, almost in unison, fix it. That's what they said. We're going to fix that problem. And then I said, okay, great. Now, women, I want you to answer the same question, just the women. And they almost in unison said the same thing. Just listen. Your wife comes to you. She has a problem. If you hadn't figured this out by now, they want you to listen to them, maybe eventually fix the problem. So listening conveys a lot of good things. You can find out a lot of good information about people if you just listen. But again, most of us, most of the time, are more interested in what we have to say than what the person we're in front of has to say. So let me look here, see if there's anything else I want to talk to you about. Let's say you meet somebody and you probably will be seeing them again. I rarely talk to them about hemp oil or Prime My Body or network marketing the first time I meet them, unless, of course, they ask me what I'm doing or the subject comes up, because I know that can turn off people a lot of times. Some people get excited when they hear it, but a lot of people get turned off. So I always try to make it a rule. If I know I'm going to see this person again, I don't get into what I'm doing right now unless they ask me specifically. If it's somebody that I probably won't ever see again, yeah, I'll get a little bit more aggressive and try to get some contact information and maybe tell them a little bit about it because I figure I got nothing to lose. So that's kind of some general guidelines that I like to use. I remember something just came to my mind, something I read years ago. One of the biggest reasons people don't buy your product or get involved with what you're doing is because you offer them a solution too quickly. And I used to use the example, if you go into a doctor's office, probably a lot of us on this call don't do that very often. If you go into a doctor's office and the doctor walks in and he says, well, what's going on? And you say, my arm's hurting. He goes, oh, great. Okay. Well, and he writes your prescription and turns around and walks out the room. First of all, he's probably not going to know the reason why your arm's hurting if he doesn't ask you some questions and get to know you a little bit. But that would probably not impress you too much, or it probably would impress you, but it'd be in a negative way. So one of the number one reasons that people don't listen to or want to get involved with what we're doing, get involved with hemp oil, use hemp oil, is because we offer our solutions too soon. I think that's one way to guarantee failure. So in summary, again, ask questions. If you ask the right questions, you'll get the answers that you need to find out what's going on in someone's life, and then you can provide a solution to their problem at the appropriate time. So, Nick, I think that's all I've got here. I'd be glad to try to answer some questions if somebody has some, and I'll give it back to you. Hello, Nick. Well, I guess we can do this without Nick. Well, there he is. I'm not hearing you, Nick. I see you.
I'm here. Sorry about that.
All right. I don't know if you want to open this up for questions or what. I'll be available here for a little bit if you want to do that, or if you got somebody else, I'll get out of the way.
No, absolutely. I definitely want to open up to questions. I love your perspective. And does anybody have any questions on how to approach, like you talked about, talk to people? Any specific, questions on sharing it with someone specific at all whatsoever? Come on, surely somebody. Carol, let me unmute you. There you go. There you go.
I think Rick really nailed it in the beautiful, full, and rich way. Thank you so much. It was really right on it.
Thanks for saying that.
I agree. I have one question for you, Rick. So let's say that someone that you used to know really, really well, but you haven't talked to them in a very long time, and they pop up in your head, or you're like, hey, I want to share it with this person. How would you approach that?
I don't like being deceitful or manipulative. I think that will be exposed very quickly whenever you're talking to anybody. As I said, I have had that scenario come up, I would call them, I would catch up briefly, but then I'd get to the point and let them know this is why I'm calling, not just kind of matter-of-factly bring it up, because I've had that happen with me, and it's real easy to see that the real reason this person's calling is to get me involved in something they're doing. So I like being upfront and honest and just say, hey, let me tell you why I call. I found out about something. It's had a great impact in my life and a number of my friends and family members. I thought you might want to know about it. That's how I would handle that.
I love that. Be real. I always say if there's an elephant in the room, make sure you introduce the elephant in the room. And that's always in that situation, people are like, well, what about this? Well, if you're worried about that, then bring it up and talk to about it and definitely be real.
Yep.
Anybody have any other questions? How to share it with people, specific instances? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. It should be the bottom left of your little Zoom screen. Or shoot me a message. I can unmute you. Surely we got some questions. Anybody specific? Okay, I'll think of a couple more. So you're at the gym, 100% cold market. How are you going to go about sharing it?
Well, it depends on what you look like, first of all. Because if you're in the gym and you're really out of shape and overweight, I'm not saying that you are. I'm not saying you're not either, but I'm just saying. People will come near listening to you if you look like you have some, if you're in shape just a little bit, I think. As you know, Nick, I have a private gym now, so when I work out, there's nobody to talk to, nobody out there. But thinking back, you know, it's the same way. People who hang out in gyms, especially bodybuilder type guys or even powerlifter type guys, if you could tell them anything that would give them a slight edge, they're going to do it, even if it was. Well, I won't use that crude example, but yeah, just ask them what they're doing. If they're taking any supplements, how's it helping? And maybe bring it up. Hey, I know something. Let me tell you what I'm doing. It may be something you might be interested in and how it's helped me. Again, and I know this sounds very vain, but if they're going to look at you and how you look will determine probably whether they're going to listen to you in the gym.
Yeah. And I loved a lot of it right there. He's talking about like question-based sharing it. So he's saying, hey, you know, what do you use? What kind of supplements do you use? When I call someone I know, a lot of times that's how I pique their interest, is I'll talk about their why or what I think I know about them. It's not always 100% accurate. That's definitely what I share it with, is using their why to talk to them. You know, I might say, hey, I know you have, you know, 2 daughters. You're having a 3rd daughter tomorrow, like I am. You're going to have to be saving for 3 weddings, 3 colleges. Hey, man, I think I found something that you really might look at, you know, that you can do some great things on the side. It's an emerging product category. I think it's right up your alley. I don't know, but I think you should definitely take a serious look. So I use that a lot. So in the situation right there at the gym, it's, you know, why would they look at it? Obviously, someone who's at the gym working out, you know, really into their health, really into their body, I'm going to talk about that. You know, if I talk to somebody about, you know, like, you know, a dad who's going to be bombarded with women in his house, I'm going to talk about that. Really kind of focus on them. It's one thing that you'll always see, no matter who they are. People always tune in to how this is going to benefit them and definitely share it. And then the one thing I always like to talk about too is if you call someone up and share it with them and say they don't take a look, most of the time it's because they just got busy. So don't take offense to it. I don't take that as a no. Okay. I take that as it didn't either. Most of the time, it's just they got busy or forgot about it. Number 2, what I said didn't resonate with them. But guess what? I can say it a different way the next time I talk to them. Okay. Number 3, I could have just not been very good. But guess what? You can get a little bit better every single day, every single day, every single day. And we're going to be around for a long time. This is not a fad. You know, the one thing that really drew me into this is that all the financial experts were saying this is going to be a major, major trend. Not like a 6-month trend, not a 2-year trend. A major trend, major shift in health. And so track that, find out what's going to light them up. You know, give them multiple exposures. What you're going to find out is the more people you share this with right now, even if they don't take a look at it, they're going to see something on the news or a news article that's going to pop up 2 months from now, 6 months from now. One of their friends is going to post something on Facebook that talks about, you know, how this oil has helped them. And they're like, you know what? I remember Rick called me a couple months ago. What is that? I got a text message last night. He's a physician in Oklahoma City. They became good friends of ours when we lived up there. He just knew that I was doing this in this category, in this space. And he read another medical journal article, and he really believes that opioids, they're actually changing the law in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, there's going to actually limit the actual dosage that you can take of opioids because they're trying to really curb that epidemic that's going on with those pain pills. He has one physician that is a good friend of his that prescribes a lot of them, and he says over half of his patients will have to cut back substantially on what they're taking. And so he saw that. He remembered us talking months. It was when I first got started 3-4 months ago about this and about how it's benefiting people's pain. He immediately called me up. He's signing up today. And so you just don't know. You want to be there. You want to brand yourself with this. You don't want to be weird or crazy or buggy or scripty. Be real. Approach it them. And I approached him saying, hey, I think this can help a lot of your patients. Here's a couple of the categories I think it will help at. Go ahead, Terry.
Just piggybacking off of that, when somebody says they're not interested, I always leave them with a call to action or at least a thought. It's like, hey, Nick, I know now you may not have any interest in the hemp oil, but do me a favor. If you ever run across anybody with pain or anxiety or maybe has an autoimmune disease, think of me. I would love to be able to help them with this. And I appreciate the referral. So planting that seed, kind of what you did a while back with that doctor, I use pain, stress, and autoimmune. I went into a naturopath's office yesterday who's trying the product, and the product manager said 80+% of the people that they come in that door are suffering with stress and anxiety, and that's why they come in.
That's powerful. That's very valuable information. Always set a follow-up or always leave them with like you said, a call to action. And so if someone comes in, they're going to think of Terry and they're going to call Terry up.
Hopefully anyways. And I posted in the Facebook group this morning, there was a study, I believe it was conducted with the University of California at Berkeley, talking about people who are on opioids and use cannabis, and 100% of them said they saw the ability to get off of so many of the opioids with cannabis. Now, we don't have the getting high part. We've taken the sin out of the bottle. But that information is really important. So be sure to read that article.
Wow, 100%. Because the last article I saw, it was like a 60-day trial they did, and it was like 52%. That's awesome. That's huge. That's huge.
3,000 people were in the survey, too.
That is absolutely huge. And 1 out of 3 Americans, I know you guys heard me say it, 1 out of 3 adult Americans last year were on some sort of pain prescription at some point during the year. It's huge. So get out and share it with people. There's no wrong thing you can say if you're very real, you come from your heart, and you are seeking to help them or seeking to help someone they know. You know, like I said, hey, who do you know that could benefit from this product or even from this company? So any other questions? Yes, sir.
Great timing. I just got a text illustrate what you were saying. I talked last week to my UPS guy. Mm-hmm. We've lived out here in the same place for 30 years, and I talked to him about it, and he's been going back and forth with me on it. And he was supposed to have called me yesterday or come by, and he didn't. So, it's real easy to think, oh, well, that person's not interested. Whatever, marking those people off my list. He just texted me just now and said, hey, how do I become an affiliate? Yep. So you just never know. Something else real quick I thought of a while ago, and this happened to me this week as well. I had a friend of mine call me and he goes, hey, I didn't know you're selling drugs. I said, what? And he said, yeah, hemp oil. I said, well, yeah, I guess I am selling it, but it's really not a drug. He was just messing with me, old high school friend. Anyway, he talked to me about it a little bit, and he goes, yeah, I think I want to sign up and get going, and, I want to try that. And so I said, I was in the middle of something. I said, let me call you back. Called him back, didn't get him, left a message. And that was on Thursday, and I still hadn't heard from him. Now, in the past, when something like that would happen, I would start letting all these thoughts come into my head. Oh, that person, he's just not interested. Just any number of things. And this has happened so many times that something like that happens. And 3 days later, they call me back, and something's happened in their life that prevented them, or they got busy. For us as affiliates, we're wanting to get people in, obviously, and hopefully they'll experience the same, the positive experiences that we have had with the product. So it's foremost on our mind. But for people who you just talk to maybe once about it, they got a life going on, and hemp oil is probably not in their top 10 things they're thinking about. So just because you don't hear right back from them, they don't return your call, doesn't mean they're not interested. It just means that life got in the way. And so I know it's real easy to get discouraged when that happens. So I know from experience that, you know, if he doesn't call me back in a couple of days, I'll just go over to his house. He lives around the corner from me. So anyway.
No, but I agree. I mean, to me, about 70% of the time, it's just life happens. He intends to call. Yeah, he wants to call. Things just get busy, or it puts the back of the head. And that's what we always talk about, multiple exposures. Sometimes it takes multiple things. And he might have called off of hearing something, but I guarantee, you know, whether Rick goes and sees him or just one more thing that happens, he's going to come in with his head on fire. And that's the key, is just to be there, share it with people, be convicted in what you're sharing. What my favorite part about this is that we have so much science. We know this product works. We know what it's doing. We're hearing testimonials. We can't even share the testimonials because of what it's doing, if that makes sense. That should just build your confidence, build your belief in this. That's what makes this so simple to go share. We talk about, you know, why you're doing this, you know, why you're going helping people. That's just what makes this open your mouth easy. So unless there's any more questions.
Tatanka, you're muted. You had a comment?
Oh, go ahead, Tatanka. Let me find you here. There you are. You're good.
Now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Question about setting them up for expectation. In the very beginning, I had an immediate result. Other people did. And I think inadvertently set some people up, like if they didn't see anything within a couple weeks or something, they got discouraged. Personally, I haven't talked about it yet, but been on 3 months. I had an immediate experience with my shoulder, but I have some really problematic knees. And in the last 3-4 days, I am walking without pain. This is 3 months later, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what you do, or you say anything, because, you know, everybody's biochemically unique, and some people take with more serious things a long time. What do you have to say about the timing of results?
Absolutely. So, you know, when they're really more product, you know, looking more into the product, absolutely, 100%. If they buy a bottle, I'll just say, yeah, you know, we've had some people that have seen some incredible results in a very short period of time. But with almost anything in health, you know, you definitely want to give it 90 days. A lot of times it's just for those cannabinoids to actually settle in our cells and actually get enough in there to work and really work. I know it works. I just don't know exactly what it's going to do for you and how quick it's going to do for you. I definitely always want to get people to commit to 3 months. From the business standpoint, if I'm sending them to a call, like one of the calls we do at 9, or a website or a video, I always say, now this is just like the movie trailer. This isn't the whole thing. I want you to go take a look at this. I would love your feedback. You know, if we can follow up tomorrow, when's a good time? But I definitely want to let them know that, say, hey, I'm really excited about something. I want you to take a look. What they're going to take a look at is not the whole thing. That's not the whole movie. That's not the whole picture. It's a movie trailer. It's just piquing their interest on it. So I think when you set that expectation, and let's say you do follow up and like, yeah, I heard that guy on that 9 o'clock call. I'm not so sure about him. Just say, well, like I said, that was the movie trailer. That was just kind of just scratching the surface. Do me a favor, take a really long look at this. It may not be for you. I don't know. But I don't think you can really give it a good gauge until you really see the whole movie, see the whole thing here. And I know that if you do, and this is for you, you'll do some amazing things. And so I'll commit to you if you take a full look. And if this is not for you, I'm not going to bug you about it. But I do think you should give this a serious look. So by setting that up on the beginning, it makes it easier when you do follow up. If they do give you an obstacle or they give you a smoke screen, because most time it's just a smoke screen.
Yeah.
When you call people, okay, 99% of them are trying to find a way to say no. And that's because they don't know what it is. We're like that with everything. You know, you can get a door-to-door salesman knock on the door, and that's selling you an alarm, okay? You might have had a break-in on this side of the house a week ago, 2 weeks ago on this side of the house. You need one, you want one, you've been looking for one, but you still in your mind are like, okay, how do I get this guy out of here, okay? You might have a huge need for it, and that's just our natural thing. So the goal for sharing this is exactly what you said. Set the stage so you can get them to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. Because when people do see this, and when they take the product and it changes, helps their knees 3 months down the road, how exciting is that? You know, that's what this is all about, from the health side, but also from the opportunity side, and how we can really help people.
Thanks.
Great question. Great question. Yes, Maureen. And Maureen's calling in from Ireland. Okay, this is how excited she is to share this. She's actually on a Zoom here from Ireland. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Maureen.
And I asked Tatanka, did you have to increase the amount that you were taking in the end, or just give me a shot at how much you were taking in the beginning and how much when you got to the stage where there was no pain?
You know what? I've been taking between 2 and 4, normally about 3 in the morning, 3 at night. Once I started getting results just 3-4 days ago, I've upped it. I mean, we got a big pack, so I'm like taking 5 in the morning, 5 at night just to see. I'm experimenting, you know. Yeah.
So what was it? What were you taking at the point that you discovered you had no more pain?
I was taking 3 and 3.
3 and 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had one person and they didn't come back after the first bottle because they didn't get out of pain. So that's why I
know. So I'm when Nick said 90 days, I mean I said, look, this is not scientific, but you know, we have people, I'd say about a quarter of the people have an experience within 2 or 3 minutes. Another quarter of the people, 2 or 3 days. Another quarter of the people, 2 or 3 weeks. And, you know, there are some people it takes 2 or 3 months. Yeah. I mean, but this is really not scientific. I probably shouldn't say that, but that's kind of my observation.
I have another question in connection with the person that we gave a bottle of oil to, and the person had pains in their joints and I think arthritis. But we gave them the bottle of the product, and we did not make contact with that person from the day we gave it to them until now. So maybe we should have gotten back to them and checked out how they're doing.
Absolutely. Communication is so important because, like Nick says, they get on, they have expectations, and you might tell a story about someone who it took 3 months, or you know, hang in there. It may not be for you, but really give it the test of time. I mean, the old adage, take enough for long enough. And
I guess in a way, when we didn't do that, to be over a month, and the person might get the feeling we really don't care. We just want to sell the product, that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, definitely stay in touch with them. You know, definitely, you know, and a lot of times, you know, with the follow-up, the easiest way to create a follow-up schedule is to let them know. Say, hey, here's the bottle. I'm going to maybe follow up with you in a few days. Make sure you're using it right, or a week or whatever. So kind of set that stage for it. It makes it easy, and also makes it easier for you to hold yourself accountable. But, hey, I got to call them in a week because I told them I was going to call them in a week. So
also, I got other people restarted because they weren't taking it regularly. You know, they missed some days. You wouldn't have known that if you didn't follow up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would say that continued doses of encouragement has helped my people the most. You know, like for us, we've been learning as we go. And like even on this call, I've gotten re-inspired about certain ways to use the oil for different things. So I think that's really good. What I like to do is, I thought about leaving a text to say, hey, I'm just checking on you, but people can get too, it's too short to have a communication if there is an issue. And so if I've left them a phone message and I can just say, hey, I was just thinking of you. How are you doing on the oil? Give me a call, or something like that. That way I can actually have a conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's so much integrity here because, I mean, Nick and Terry follow up and say, is there anything I can do to help you? It makes a huge difference. And if we do that down the line, you know, loving on people just informationally, when they know that we care, they're much more liable to follow through on it.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Great information. Anybody have any other questions at all? Questions on sharing it with people?
Just a comment, Nick. I posted something in the Facebook group by Tom Hopkins the other day. It was a talk he was given to a network marketing organization, but he goes through, I think, 10 words you should never say when you're talking to prospects. So I would encourage everybody to watch that video. He is like the master closer salesman type. And again, it's the little shifts that we make in our language that make all the difference in the world. Nobody likes to be sold, but everybody likes to think it's their idea and they want to buy because they think it can help them. So the words we use matter.
Great stuff. Absolutely.
I just had one more. I don't know if this was covered earlier on the call, but I ran into a friend yesterday that had been on my list, and we did our greetings and how are you, Jerry Lynn? You know, how are you, Victoria? And pretty soon she was telling me, you know, that she was going to the chiropractor every week and she couldn't figure out this mystery pain going on. And I said, well, have you ever considered CBD oil? And she goes, what's that? You know, so just like what you were talking about, questions really are the magical lead in for me anyway. I have fun with it, and people really, they either know about it, and then if they do, I say, what have you experienced on it? And that positive, beautiful energy that we have around the oil is just magical for conversations.
Absolutely. Love it. Great stuff, people. Great Zoom. We appreciate it. Invite more of your team on. As you can see, a lot of this is it's some great training. Some of the things we've heard before, some of it's new stuff, but it just gives you more ideas, more people to talk to. I mean, I sit here and take notes on, okay, you know, what Rick said about this. I mean, Rick brought some amazing value to that right there. I'll get a recording of this and get it sent out so you can send it to your team. But you know, just how he's talking to people makes me think of more people to talk to, and that's all. That's what this is for. It's a tune in. I do like people seeing your video. I had to cut mine off a little bit. We have craziness going on today. We have we're going in tonight to induce for the baby. We've got the family in town. We're getting our carpets clean right now, so it's kind of crazy at the house. But this right here has re-inspired me to go share it with people. I mean, I got 5 people I want to call today and to do this. So plug in, have fun. If you can, share your video. We love it. We love to get to know people, personalities. This is team building. This is fun. You'll get to know different personalities. And everyone that talks and makes a comment, think of like, okay, what are 5 people that person reminds me of? Go call them and say, hey, you know what? I was on a little training this morning or a team meeting, and someone really reminded me of you about this, and they're having a lot of success. I think you should take a serious look. Okay? Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a great day, and reach out if you guys need anything at all, and we will talk to you all soon. You guys have a great one.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Take care.